What's up YouTube, it's your boy Bernard Feroz, and on this video I'm going to be giving you guys tips on how you can use information to your advantage in an information age. Now, since the invention of the modern day computer, we've been basically plunged into the information age. Our main problem currently is that we have a lot of information that we do not know what to do with it. That's why one of the main problems plaguing us today is what we call information overload. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys tips on how you can actually, to a large extent, use data for your advantage and information to your advantage instead of it being detrimental to you. And please guys, don't forget to like this if you like the video and subscribe if you like this type of content, and let's get into it. Now, the first tip in this video is the problem isn't information overload, the problem is information control. We live in the world where different types of information is basically shoved down our throats, whether we like it or not, be it through social media, be it through television, or whatever information sources you have. Now, the moment we actually decide to be more proactive about what we consume, the easier it is going to be for us to prevent information overload. Now, a good way to go about this, of actually being intentional, is actually finding or using content aggregators. Now, what are content aggregators? Content aggregators are basically individuals or news sources that actually help you to filter out the fluff from the information out there and break it down or reduce it into something much more consumable. Now, take for example, you're into crypto, and it's going to be impractical or not effective to actually go online to siphon or to weed through the amount of information out there about crypto. That's why you can just look for an aggregator about all things crypto and listen to them, and they've broken down, taken the time to break down all things cryptocurrency. Now, the content aggregator that I like in this field is actually a channel called Coin Bureau. Now, they really actually help to really make it understandable. Now, that's just for crypto. Now, there are many other, like, it may be into different things, but like how you can actually reduce the onset of information overload is to actually look for content aggregators on things that are of interest to you, so you won't have to like really flood yourself with things that are quite irrelevant. Another way you can actually be more intentional is actually putting a cap or a time cap on how much you use information sources like social media. Now, if you're a type of person who easily gets overloaded through use of Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Viber, whatever social media apps out there, you can actually put a time cap on how often or how long you use this app. So just putting that one out there also. Now, another tip on how you can actually control this is by understanding that what you consume consistently changes how you think. There's a really interesting saying: you are what you eat. Now you are also what you consume. Because in this information age, the information you consume consistently actually changes your worldview or your perspective on that thing that you viewed. Now, take for example, this is a random example. You may not really be into popcorn, but when you consistently view content that portray popcorn in a really nice light, and they make it look so like if you don't eat popcorn, your life has not started or anything like that. Like, the more you view this kind of content, the more you expose yourself to this type of things that portray popcorn as good, two things are actually going to happen. First of all, your initial aversion towards popcorn is going to reduce, or you are actually going to join the trend and you're going to love popcorn. Now, this is just a random example about popcorn, but this pattern can actually play out in different aspects of life in general, or rather in even weightier matters like drugs, sexual orientation, or violence. So actually, when you understand what you consume actually affects how you think, it's going to give you it's going to rather increase your drive or your motivation towards actually controlling what you put into your mind. So basically, what you consume creates thoughts, and what you think about consistently, you become. Next tip is to understand that social media is out for your eyeballs. Now, what do I mean by this? There are a lot of apps out there, a lot of sources out there, which are specifically and strategically designed to keep you on the app or on the source or on the information source whatsoever. Some apps actually engage psychology on people. Like, take for example, Instagram. Like, the process of you just scrolling through your feed has psychological ramifications on how long you actually stay on the app. And the process of actually you double tapping the screen, eventually it's actually leads to an addictive behavior of you actually double tapping. And if you've noticed, most social media apps actually involves like maybe except like Facebook, but the recent ones, like it involves you like double tapping, because there's actually some psychological process going on that actually makes it easier to get addicted to the app when you are doing something physical, like actually double tapping your screen. It's a whole lot more addictive. Media companies actually do a lot of research on how to make their apps more addictive. Now, when you understand this, it can actually protect you or guard you from their manipulative tactics. It's just like when a girl knows a guy likes her, like she automatically puts her guard up. So like basically when you know that these guys are out to manipulate you, it kind of helps you to push your guard up and avoid it. Now the next tip is quality over quantity. Now with this point, this is where books come in, right? Now why I say quality over quantity is because some sources of information are much more information dense and concise compared to some other sources of information, which most of the things all over there are just fluff, and maybe it's gonna take you weeding through like 1,000 fluffs to actually find something that's actually meaningful and practical. Now, unlike a book, now there's a term which I like so much, BPS, which is bumps per second. Now, the bumps per second you get while reading a book and the bumps per second you get while scrolling your Instagram feed are different. Now, this is because a book is treasure trove of like things that are like really valuable. Is the fact that before you publish a good book, it has to first undergo a lot of scrutiny from like the editorial process, from even the writer himself or herself, and even the publishers. Even they actually subject this book through a lot of scrutiny, and they have to cut out a lot of fluff. And eventually, what you actually get from a book is a really, really refined idea on a particular topic. A good way to prevent information overload is to actually focus more on quality than quantity. Next point is don't consume what doesn't concern you. Now, this may sound a bit, should I say, controversial, but in essence, there's a really popular principle called the Pareto principle. Now, this principle basically says 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. Now, this principle can be applied in basically almost any spectrum in life. When we apply this in terms of information, basically 80% of useful information is going to come from 20% from where you consume it from. So this basically means very few, should I say, sources or very few mediums of information consumption actually produce things that are actually very valuable. Now that's why consuming things that don't concern you, the odds of you getting something valuable from that source or that piece of information is actually quite low or negligible. So consuming things that actually do concern you increases your odds of actually you finding something practical and valuable, and helps to also reduce or ameliorate the effects of information overload. And guys, question of the day: if you have a method on how you create your information diet, please put it down in the comments below so we can all learn and improve as a community. And guys, if you like this video, please like, and if you like some content, please subscribe, and remember to always keep it real. And guys, if you like this video, you might like the video on below the screen. You may find it a bit interesting. And guys, thank you so much for your time. Bye.